Hello everyone, today we will learn how to make tutorials how to make explosion in Unreal Engine, and we will start from scratch. We will make texture, although I have lots of textures for explosion, but I will not use them. I will create new, like I have this one proper explosion that I created in Houdini, but I will not use it now. Okay, I have this smoke that I created in Maya, and I have a decent subview of random cloud pattern that I created in Photoshop. I will use this texture. Just quickly I tell you how I created this texture in Photoshop, but I will not create again. I just tell you what I did. Just take black and white color, filter, render, cloud, and you can just take random patterns, Control plus J, and you have two patterns. This is how I created that random patterns. Okay, so no need to create it again. I have already 16 random patterns that I use for random particles. So let's create it. First I need to make a material, and I have already a material, but let's check. msmoke01, simply a particle color that is multiplying with the another cloud texture. For details, I multiplied the base color of this, and I take opacity from the red channel of my sub-UV that I created in Photoshop, and I also added a power to erode this texture with the help of dynamic parameter that I will use in particles. How it will work? Basically, if I disconnect it, you have this texture like this one. Power, what power does? It will contrast your values, like you have gray values on H. When you increase the power, it will erode from here to mid, like this. If it is 1, if I increase to 5, it is eroding this smoke texture. So I will use this in particle life over time. Depth fade for the fade on collision on interaction of any mesh. This is very simple material. Okay, so I will use this material. Particles, create new particle, P explosion tutorial. One more thing, let me check my material. Let me check my material. Smoke. Okay, I don't have emissive color in this texture, so I will add also in emissive because I want to make fire from this texture also. Or what I can do, no, just create it. Smoke 01. This is 4x4, so I will put 4x4 random frames and sub UV index. some basic things like random rotation rate 0.2 minus 0.2. Now this should look like explosion, so like air explosion. I will use burst like 30 particles, increase the size of particle, red or 200, and I will use location sphere. I can 10 minus 10. I use sphere, use velocity, so it will just throw out all the particles. I will use random. Okay, size I will increase and 200. Maybe more velocity and some gravity. Now color, it should look like fire. This is some basic fire color, and on 0.3 I will use some dark color, random life, and color fit, smooth your curves. Let's check in viewport. One more thing I can do, size of a lifetime. And increase the glow, maybe 500. This is loop, so I will just stop my loop, only one. It will only emit once. Now I fire, duplicate smoke. I will change color. I will remove gravity and increase buoyancy bit. Delete scale of the lifetime and increase velocity. Increase also size. And I will decrease sphere velocity like 5. I will add a light in fire and click on FX translucency, so your fire will basically affect your smoke. 2, 1, and increase your there are some sharp spheres of light on ground, so I will increase radius and decrease the intensity. And I will add a shock wave in it. Smoke. Just isolate it, remove your sphere, add the cylindrical shape, velocity, only surface, and spawn 100. Will decrease life. I will also use some trails. I will duplicate my fire and it will be fireball trails. I will just turn off my light, isolate, color, just constant color, spawn like 20. I will increase the spawn velocity of sphere and just don't want to on Z axis. This is nice. Now increase the gravity and fireball, and I will make a duplicate of it. This will be fireball trail. Delete your light, delete burst, red spawning, and location, initial location, fireball, and of your acceleration of your sphere, of your velocity. Also turn off this. I can make it GPU because GPU doesn't allow random particles subduing. It's okay. Now color. I will not use constant color for this one. 0 will be fiery and 0.5 something, it's like smoke. 0.2. Initial size. One more thing, I didn't use dynamic parameter in any of my emitters. I will use dissolve, and I will use a curve. At 0 it's 0, at 1 it's 5, and I will just copy it on my every emitter. There's some mistake on 0, it would be 1. Now it's eroding. Increase velocity. Real life. I will just decrease the size of fireballs. And curve one more key in alpha. At 0 it's 0.2, it's 1, and at 1 it's 0 again, so it will be smoother. There will be some sparks. Name sparks and radial gradient, very simple material, just a radial, and location sphere. Initial size, velocity. Just isolate this one. And increase, and on one side minus, and this will be spawn burst 20. Increase the size and decrease the life. Now some color. size over lifetime. And increase the life. This is very basic explosion with the very basic texture. You can create lots of good texture by simulating in 3D software. I want to change size of my trails and color. There's something wrong with this. Yeah. This was missing. Now it's looking good. In Shockwave I can duplicate it, and in Slender there's random. And I will increase the size of my smoke. Stop it and 20. Mission size. And I will use drag 0.2. Size over life. Color. Use light in trail. Size of my shockwave. one more thing is missing, and that is refraction, I mean distortion. Hate distortion. Save your project. I have a material for distortion, and this is very simple, just a normal map, plugin to normal. So I will use this. Plugin size burst, something like 5, spawn node loop, size over scale 2 2, and that's it. It's too much. Live 0.1, 0.2. Initial size. Now I can increase live. This refraction should be on mesh. Type mesh sphere. Initial size. And one more thing, firewall 200, no, 200, 100, increase the gravity. You can add some more sparks. Duplicate the spark and decrease size. Increase spawn like 100. Increase the life like 3, 2. And drag and orbit 200, 0.2, 0.2, and buoyancy more orbit looking cool. Some color. Can just blow. Change the size. Increase 200, 100. And sorry, this look good. Trail lights I can and color. Can decrease light. One more thing with trail. Something and I will increase size. Trail. Color 0.3. Just tweak your curve. And rotation. I want to make some spark for my shockwave. Duplicate, remove sphere or hide it, use slender surface, random, spawn like 50, lifetimes. Okay. I want to increase some velocity. and decrease the life 0.5. Increase your bloom. Increase size. So this is your basic explosion. I can work on my distortion material. This dynamic, this refraction 0. If you do it 1, there is no distortion. So I can use a dynamic parameter here. Distortion. And just add the dynamic parameter, refresh it. There is a distortion parameter, curve it, 2 keys. At 0 it's 0, at 1 it's 1. Fraction. I can life 0.5. 3. Spawn 5. That's good. What else I can add? I want to add some I want to take my shock wave, duplicate, stop it here. This is going far. Oops, this is going far. I want to add drag here, increase life 1 and 5, and here buoyancy. Slender, uniform, 250. Increase the size. And size over life. Make it 3. And decrease the rotation rate. And change the color. too dark, 0.1, 0.1, 1. I can change the depth fade to 500. Cool. Now the spawn rate of this shall be like 30. And one more thing. Now it's good. You can see this is pretty nice explosion effect with a very simple texture. And I use only one texture in all my emitter except the refraction. This is, you can easily create it in Photoshop. And if you will use good subviewing like I have this one, you can make very good explosions. So this was just the idea how you place your elements in an explosion. One more thing I would try. Just play with your effect. I think it's looking good. Fireballs just blooming too high. So I will finish this tutorial now. You can make good explosion with good texture. It's really nice with that basic texture. Comment on my YouTube video, on this video, how can I improve this, what do you want to learn, what tutorial you want me from me. Okay, bye. Subscribe my channel, like my videos, share and support. Thank you. Bye.